Wadaguan family. Like, share, subscribe, Cash App. You know what it is. I just want to, pop in and y'all see the screen. Y'all see what it says. FDMG 1221. That simply means December 2021. Umar Johnson is now on the clock. All right, and you see the clock underneath too. And let's just get right into why I'm going this route. Basically, as you all know, this is, like I said, this is the timeline for the unicorn, i.e. the FDMG, the trap bandos, whatever. I mean, it's been about 13 years now. You want to get technical, 2009, okay, 12 years. You really want to get technical, we're talking 2 years now with this trap bando, but, this has been going on for a long, long time. And what this does, this timeline, this just eliminates a lot of the excuses that Umar has been using all this time. I mean, it just, whether it's the haters, whether he wants to blame the PayPal, the white lawyer, I mean, it's been over a decade now. And the toilets aren't even fixed. You haven't even changed the sign on the joint. And, interesting thing happened this past week. As you all know, especially on the East Coast, a lot of us were snowed in on Monday. So I managed to catch some of the festivities on YouTube. All right. And looked at some of the Umar content that the quote unquote good guys claimed they were getting away from. But the fact is, I mean, these dudes don't have any content. And eventually they just went back to it anyway. No one wants to hear you talk about any politics or any other shit. You don't even get 100 views talking about other shit. So you just get back to the Umar content. Or you put Umar in your title to generate some sort of traction. Right? So, but yeah, they were going in on Lenin to expose what? I mean, you can't, there's nothing to expose, but whatever. I mean, how are you going to expose something that is already out there? All right. The only person that's gotten exposed in this past couple of weeks is your man Shakim Ra, who, went on Taz's platform, made a fool of himself. I mean, talking about how he's paying $30, basically $10 an hour to a bunch of Africans to do coding, which is literally slave labor. Where this guy is so pro-black and pro-African and shit, but he's paying a bunch of African slave labor. I mean, come on, bro. But anyway, over at TC's live, I guess he and Taz were supposed to chop it up, but that started with him and Taz, and then it escalated to Flacco getting on, and Andrew got on, and those two were going in a screaming match, and the drama ensued. And eventually Derrel, decides to muster up the courage to go up into the chat as well with him and his boys. And that's usually what happens when you go over there. I mean, they'll say, and I don't know if this is true or not, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. They'll say that they'll go over to the quote unquote anti-fraud warriors and they'll cut them off, but they won't let them on. But they'll let people on, which is, whatever, but they'll let you on, but it'll be like 5 against 1. And I'll get into that in just a second. So they'll let you on. It's just 5 against 1. And then if you're totally against what they're saying, they'll just cut you off, which is what happened to me the last time I was over there, but whatever. But Derrel came up screaming, back and forth, and it was just a free for all, and what's his name? Flacco and Andrew, aka We Unlock, he was challenging Taz to a fight. And then Taz left and Tiff went up and she was talking about how, Taz is a woman beater. I mean, I don't know about any of that stuff, to be honest with you, but I mean, I've heard it before, but I don't know about the stuff. So Derrel, straight from that drama, decided, hey, let me start a live on my chat and let me start a live on my platform and see if I can, bring some of the drama over to my side to generate a couple of hits and some traction. And I'll admit, because a lot of their lives are usually dead, but I'll admit his live generated some traction. Usually his the lives over there is like, couple, like maybe 10, 15 people listening, and you see the moderator, which is the owner of the platform, i.e. Derrel or TC. They usually flood in the chat or whatever, and you get more dislikes than likes, and he probably got more dislikes than likes anyway. But I'll admit, this live was popping. It really generated some traction. I mean, he started it, and Tiffany got on as well, and a couple of us, they saw me in the chat, and they're saying, "Yo, Nappy, come up, man. You come up. You've been talking a lot of shit, blah blah blah," and and it was a 6-hour live, and I was kind of going back and forth in the live, in the chat with a bunch of people. I mean, with Red Pill, aka Pink Pill 2.0, or Pink Dick in mouth, with all the fucking all his QAnon shit that he latches onto, whatever. And then TC the Trumpet started talking reckless, so he and I went back and forth, and Scarlett and I went back and forth a little bit, and Flacco got in, and Flacco accused me of bleaching my skin. All right, which is just laughable. You've seen the last video I did with Umar, and you see me standing next to Umar, and I'm his complexion. Meanwhile, I'm bleaching my skin. But this is what they do. They just go ahead and they just make up shit, and whatever sticks, they'll run with it. So that it's kind of fun. But this is their MO, whatever. So eventually, they were kind of calling me up. They were coming at me, and a few other people came on. There was Derrel and Tiff, but then this chick, the Oracle, came up. The Oracle is this old chick who follows Umar. We'll get into her in a second. And Flacco was up there, and Andrew Roberts was up there, and Shakim Ra was in the chat as well. So obviously Shakim Ra found a home with the quote-unquote good guys. This dude who attacked Umar, and then he's, decided to attack Lennon, but now Lennon is kind of trending, so he's using Lennon now for some traction. I mean, this dude is just a clown, to be honest with you. But whatever. I was, after like an hour or so, Derrel went down, and he was like, and I just said in the chat, listen, I'll come up there, whatever. As long as I don't get caught up in the echo chamber, and it's not me against 10 people. Because usually when I get on Derrel's platform, I make a point, and dude is usually muting me, or he's, I get cut off or whatever. But I gotta admit, we got on. Everybody muted this shit for the moment, for a little while. And me and Derrel went back and forth. So I'm gonna give credit where credit is due throughout this presentation. He didn't mute me. We were going back and forth. I still think he's full of shit, whatever. But we did. But to be fair, we did just go back and forth, and we were talking. So, and you got to keep in mind with these dudes, once you are anti-Umar in any way, there is no coming back. All right. Once you are anti-Umar or speak against Umar, you are the enemy. You're the enemy. Forget about it. I mean, that includes Derrel. This is why they go after Taz. Then this chick, Woman Spear, this girl, Woman Spear, I guess she said something about Derrel, so now she's part of the anti-fraud. And this chick, Courtney Omega, who interestingly enough, I ran into before on two other platforms. One was on ACBN. This is a dude who, wants to basically classify who is and who isn't black. All right, I have no issues with that platform. And interestingly enough, he's an Umar supporter. Okay, and I would love for him to come over, because once he finds out who he's linked up with as far as the quote-unquote good guys, with their penchant for all this gay shit and letting a lot of these gay dudes come on their platform. I mean, you had Flacco at one point doing a live with two other gay dudes talking about Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star is, I don't know what it is. It's an it. I mean, I guess he's like a guy who's trying to be a woman, and it looks like, you know, it's this white dude too. I mean, it just tries to look like a woman, and I guess, you know, he ran out of money for the take the hormones and shit, whatever you take to stay a woman. So it just literally looks like someone from another planet. But here Flacco is doing a live talking about this whatever. I mean, sometimes like if you see a transgender, right? Like say if you're looking from afar, like who's that chick? That chick who or that dude who had supposedly had an affair, Sydney Starr had an affair with Chingy, and you see her from afar, you're like, wait, that's one. Then you can look up close, like, oh, hold up, you got a dick. Wait a minute, a second. Or that other one from Orange Is the New Black. I remember that one. They were on the cover of Time, and they really, you know, put this person together, and you look from afar and like, oh, who's that chick? Like, oh, wait a minute, hold on a second, that's the dude from Orange Is the New Black. But so sometimes this is why you got to be careful in this society, especially nowadays. But this Jeffree Star, this is like a full out just dude, just a weirdo, and just white dude. And I'm like, yo. But here Flacco is doing a live with, you know, about this dude, and I'm like, yo. So all these dudes, they're about, you know, they love calling people gay, but for some reason they can't stay away from gay culture. But yeah. So, but with Courtney Omega, I met her on the ACBN's platform, and also I saw her over on Dynas's platform, Search for Uhuru. So she's all over the place, and she seemed like a cool girl, but again, I guess she said something about Umar or Derrel, so now she's the enemy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, who knows? Maybe I may be the subject of a live one day. I don't know, but anyway, the thing with these dudes, they just love making up shit. Like, for example, when I got up on the chat, immediately Tiff was saying that I was talking reckless about her in the chat, which isn't true. I mean, I'll even leave a link to the chat. You guys can listen to the whole thing. But what she was doing while she was up there, she was thirst trapping. All right, she's got big breasts. So she was basically getting up and moving around, and she was just thirst trapping a lot of these dudes. And you know what? Look, you want to see a nice looking chick with big titties. There's this chick on Sarnetta's platform, Napa Shada. All right. I mean, if you want to see nice titties, go check that out. Okay, this chick is, and she's better looking too. And I'm not saying that Tiff is bad looking. All right. You know, if this goes back to them like, oh, why are you dissing Tiff? I'm not saying she's a bad looking woman. I'm just saying Napa Shada, you check her out, she's better looking. All right. Or Tasha K. If you like a woman who likes showing off their puppies, I mean, those two, I'll choose them over Tiff. And, you know, it's not a diss towards her. You know, I don't think Tiff is a bad looking woman, although she can act pretty ugly sometimes. You know, I don't think she's a bad looking African woman. But yeah, she was thirst trapped, and I went ahead and I spoke on that, like, you know, a lot of these thirsty dudes, and maybe she took that offense to that, but whatever. And we just, you know, as soon as I got up there, as I said, myself and Derrel were going back and forth cordially. And then I went to Oracle, and things just went from 0 to 200 in a second. And we were just kind of screaming back and forth. And, you know, she just went off, you know. And well, the thing about this chick, because sometimes I do lurk on their platforms, and, you know, it doesn't matter. It's not like their platforms get 1 billion and 1 hits. I mean, you know, I get on, if I click their site, I mean, I'm like the number 49 and shit. So, you know, sometimes I look on her platform, and she, during this whole live, she made a few admissions, because they were talking about Taz and Nyla, and Taz is the woman beater, blah blah blah, and there was somebody in there, Stop 'em and Shop 'em, and they were talking about, oh, this is what I mean when I say they make up shit. Like, wait, that's Nyla. That's really Nyla who Stop 'em and Shop 'em. Look, I don't know Nyla and Taz personally. I don't know Nyla personally. I was introduced to Nyla around the same time I was introduced to Len and Honor, right? Because this was around the time when Cosby got indicted. And, with Negroes and their celebrity worship, and I was just looking around for black people who made sense, who were like, who doesn't worship Cosby, who realizes that Cosby is a piece of shit? And there were a few people. Nyla and Len and Honor, they both went after Cosby. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only person out here who's on this fake code with these damn celebrities. So that's how I got introduced to Nyla. And supposedly, I guess Nyla has been around for a while on Facebook. Again, I don't, I guess I'm kind of missed the boat, but that's when I've been introduced to her. And this chick, Stop 'em and Shop 'em, they said was Nyla. And just knowing Nyla from her internet personality and her, she is not the type of chick that's gonna lurk. She just doesn't seem like the type of chick that's gonna hide her name and lurk like that. I think she's like very in your face, like her husband. Okay, I guess that's why those two got together, because she's very in your face and she'll talk shit. I guess, but I don't see her getting a fake name. That shit just doesn't make sense to me. But this woman, Oracle, was talking to the Stop and Shop 'em, and so was Tiff. And Oracle revealed that she was a battered woman. That she had a man that she was in and out of court or what have you. I mean, I don't forget it, but she did admit that she was a battered woman, which I found interesting, because at one time when I peeped into one of her lives, and she's like literally talking to herself on her live and shit and whatever, and she was like speaking to Umar. She was giving a message to Umar, and it was almost like, would you please forgive me, Dr. Umar? And I don't know what got you mad at me or whatever. And it just was really weird. It was almost like, again, a battered woman trying to get her abusive spouse back. That's what it seemed like to me. But that revelation made me, I'm like, okay, this is probably why she acts the way she does with Umar. Okay, so, but she and I, we just went screaming back and forth. And what's funny is that Tiffany, who is usually the firecracker, right? She's usually the one that goes, she and I, during that entire time I was up there, I may have been up there for maybe an hour or maybe an hour and a half. She and I there was no beef, and we were pretty cordial with each other. Now, what's funny, listen, mind you, there were a couple of other people up there, and I was screaming at Oracle. Some other chick came up there, this chick named Kai from New York, who was screaming at me, saying I was talking reckless about Derrel. Listen, anything that I got to say about Derrel, I'll tell him to his face in his platform, which I did. So I don't just run and do that. And they accused me of going on Lennon's platform and bringing up Derrel's name. I probably did. In fact, I know I did, because it was a time when Derrel, the lion, just got too much. And then when they started with this rumor about Lennon saying that, he goes and chases gay men, which funny, they don't even talk about that anymore. That was such a big scandal, and the scandal just went flat, which just lets you know that it was nothing but slander. But when Derrel decided to go on that, I went to his chat. I'm like, bro, you're not going to do this, right? And he cut me off immediately, like, nah, we ain't going to do this today, man. And he cut me out of his chat. This was on his old channel before they threw him off of YouTube. And he cut me off, and he cut me out of his chat. And I'm like, yo. And that's probably when I said, yo, and I just spoke about him on other platforms. But anything that I feel, anything that I say, and it was just listen to the chat, I'll tell them directly. I'm not into the silly YouTube games. But interestingly enough, like I said, Tiffany and I we weren't really going at each other, but she was laughing in the background at the screaming, and that's cool. I mean, whatever. This was light work. But here's what was interesting with this Oracle chick. This chick said, between our screaming, she said, see, you don't even know about me and Umar. Umar put me in the book of Negroes. I'm like, the book of Negroes? And she was serious. So this wasn't even a joke. Because Umar, obviously he says that book of Negroes and you think he's being funny or facetious, whatever. But she took it serious. Like, I'm in the book of Negroes. And I started to mind map and I said, okay, is this why she was like almost begging this dude to let her back in or what have you? But it just revealed that, wow, this chick she really wants Umar back. And then I was kind of offended. I was actually hurt. I'm like, she put you in the book of Negroes and not me? To which Tiffany came in and she responded, oh, you're in the book of Negroes yourself. I said, I am? And she said, yeah, you're on the front page. She said I'm on the front page, which shows you that, folks, this school ain't happening. Come on, bro. Well, once she said that I'm in the book of Negroes, I'm like, come on. These guys already know that this book ain't going down, because Umar's never mentioned my name like that. Maybe he will. Listen, if I'm in the book of Negroes, I'm honored. Especially in the front page and shit. And if he ever gets a school open and he literally will have a book open and he said, let me just read all the people on the book of Negroes, or he has a sign on the school, the people who aren't allowed in the school, and my name comes up there and shit, I'll be honored. I'm gonna keep it a buck, So once you get past the security gates and the guards and shit, which you'd probably need in a dangerous neighborhood like that, and I eventually see the sign, or maybe you'll have the sign on the grass. If they don't steal it off the grass, like he accuses everybody of stealing, but whatever. If I'm on the book of Negroes, I'm honored. But yeah, it just shows you, when she mentioned that, I'm like, okay, you guys just won. You just like the drama. Yeah, this is all about the drama. This is about traction, because Umar never blesses your site ever. He never blesses your platform. You're riding for him like this, and he doesn't even come on your platform to talk. Okay, you don't even go back and forth. He's your teacher, Tiff, and you guys he doesn't even come on your platform and bless it. Just you and him. Nobody has to come on and interfere. You don't even have to, do a live. Just do a tape platform and just put it out there with Umar. But we know this. You guys just like the drama. That's all this is. But the fact that there is, in fact, a book of Negroes, that Umar, who's supposedly working on a commercial property that needs hundreds of thousands of dollars of work. Huh? You need the HVAC. You clearly need toilets. You need a plumber, and you gotta dig up that's raw sewage coming out of the bathrooms and out of the gym, nigga. You can't. You need to rip that whole thing up and fumigate that shit. That's hundreds of thousands right there, and that's in one room in a big building. And ain't no Dusty Don gonna take care of that. This dude, this is another clown. This dude found himself up on the platform too, and he's a mess. He's a complete and total disaster, that dude. And he found himself on the platform, and he stuck his foot in his mouth as usual. But the fact that you take the time to put together a book of Negroes, and with all that work that needs to be done, come on, bro. And people are still donating. You can't. I don't hate. People think that I hate Umar. I don't hate on Umar like that. He's still got people donating. So how can I hate on that shit? But yeah, so it's funny. And they set this whole shit up. I'll give them credit. They set it up where if you speak out on Umar at all, you're now Team Lenin, or you're Team Anti-Afros Bengali. You're not just an ordinary person that sees the bullshit. All right, it's like everyone can see the fuckery with Umar. But listen, they set this up kind of, and it was a little chess move on their part, and you got to give them credit. All right, but it's not going to last for long, because Lenin ain't going to give you no. He's not going to give you any type of content like that. Okay, you don't see, Lenin's been online for 10 years or so. He's not going to give you any content, real content for you to work off of him. He doesn't have any weirdo shit online. And what are you revealing with this dude? I mean, everything that you quote unquote revealed, it's been out there. But here's what's an interesting thing. And this is really telling about this whole Umar saga. Because as myself and Derrel were going back and forth, Derrel brought up Lenin and his image as a family man and his whole thing, which, like I said, Derrel's full of shit and he just likes the drama, but that's cool. Derrel was like, listen, how do you feel about a dude who's puts up this image as a family man and, you know, he turns out to be totally opposite? And he's bringing up all the slander he's throwing out there, which again, the slander is bullshit. He's got some real dummies who just got this hook, line, and sinker. But he's saying, yeah, how do you feel? He got this image as a family man. He's accusing people of asking for money and begging for money. Meanwhile, you know, he's doing the same thing and blah blah blah. And Shakim Raz, his clown ass, he's still running with the Lenin shit, and he's still putting out videos. And by the way, Shakim, what happened to the Reverend G scandal? What happened with that? So this dude is just whatever, bro. I mean, I shout out to H2K Presents and the Smoke God, because with Shakim, here's the thing, dude. Shakim went on the Smoke God and you made a complete ass of yourself, bro. You made an ass of yourself in Taz, and you really made an ass of yourself in the Smoke God, because you revealed why you're going after Lenin, and you said Lenin claimed that he makes more super chats than you. And this is why you're all in your feelings? Here's a question I have to ask you, because y'all are putting out video, or you, Shakim Ra, you putting out videos saying Lenin's losing money now. Lenin's losing subscribers. Lenin's losing this. So the basis of your argument is that Lenin is doing this to get a bunch of super chats. He's doing it for the money. He's doing this off another man. If what you're saying is true, right? And he's doing this to make money off another man, and that's his sole motivation. And now, according to you, he's losing subscribers and losing money, but he's still doing this, so what's your point? If the motivation is money, and his money went, in fact, this is funny. This is a couple of days ago, you know, Lenin did his live, and Derrel was taping his live. And Derrel, I guess like 3 hours into the live, said he was arguing with James G, because James G is clearly a moderator with Lenin, and Derrel got in his feelings because James G was up on the platform with us. It was me and James G, right? So he was on the platform with us, and Derrel allowed him to speak, and then Derrel taped Lenin's platform and said, oh shit, JG is a moderator over there. He got really all up in his feelings. I'm like, okay. But James G came back, and Derrel and him were going back and forth. And this was 3 hours in, or like 2 hours into Lenin's live, I believe. I don't know like the exact time, but Lenin was already deep into his live. And Derrel was like, Lenin ain't making no money over there. Damn, he only made $50. This is 2 hours or so into the live. And I look back, I mean, my dude, $50 was like 10 minutes in. This is what I mean. This man, you dudes keep making up shit. Like, he only made $50 in his life. So again, if he just made $50, why is he, what's the motivation then? What do you think the motivation is? He can't be jealous of Umar, because Umar, the school ain't happening. And in the past live, and I saw both, he opened up again. I look at that first walkthrough at the school in Virginia with a whole new perspective. The crusty jeans and now, see, Umar should have kept his mouth shut. He shouldn't have gotten that school in Delaware, because now you're gonna look back and you're like, yo, this dude, maybe this was a scam just from the jump. Oh, let me go ahead and make a school and let me just collect money and not do shit. Now, see, Lenin's really opened him up now. And you say that he's losing money and he's losing subscribers, but he's not stopping. So what are you saying? But back to Derrel. Derrel and I were going back and forth, and he brought up that Lenin Lenin's image is a phony image. As a family man, Lenin is a hypocrite because he asked about saying that Umar asked for money and he's begging or what have you. And what he doesn't seem to understand is I don't give a shit what Lenin does in that respect. Like if it came out that Lenin did in fact have a secret gay lifestyle, I've said this in other videos, I don't give a shit. That's not my he's going to have to address that himself. If he does in fact grab his ankles, that's not, my world isn't going to be shattered. I'm like, okay, he's going to have to address that. But 10 years online, no one has come out, no one legitimately anyway, has come out except Stephen Dickano, who's still on your platform. You say that you're against the gay and the homo and and all the beta male shit. Meanwhile, you have a dude who is flaming hot. He gets into your cipher. I don't understand that, but whatever. But my world won't be destroyed if that happens. He's going to have to deal with that. But then, as we were talking, I turned to Miss Oracle. And I said, it's not going to matter to me, but let me ask you this. How would you feel after all this time following Umar and after all this time riding for dude and believing in this so-called mission and whatever? What if it comes out that Umar is in fact a fraud? And I'm telling you, I struck a nerve. She just exploded. You always switching the topic and this is what you do, this and that. She exploded. Because I think deep down, folks, these folks know. Again, this is like Umar brings traction. He brings a lot of drama and shit. And she knows. And also too, which shows you how cowardly these attacks on Lenin and Rev G, they're going after people who are not really going back at them. They're not willing to go deep into the dirt. I mean, Reverend G attack goes back at them, but these guys like hit below the belt. They like chop off your ankles and shit. This is how they do it. But while I was online, I brought up, and you can look at my video again, Dr. Mukasa Africa Mayat. See, if anyone asks me about Umar, all I would do is refer them to that article that Dr. Mayat wrote about Umar. That's all you need to know about it. That's all you need to know about it, and it's all playing out. The article was written back in 2014, and here we are, 2021, and that article still stands. So I brought up, how is it that you don't want to go after the dude who, out of Umar's own mouth, got the ball rolling? You don't want to go after a guy who has a school in Philly where most of you cats are at, huh? You don't want to go after the guy who is doing it the Garvey way, because these guys say, oh, Umar's trying to do it the Garvey way. This is what this guy's doing, right? Every time I bring him up, these guys run for cover. I don't want to hear that. This ain't about him, because you know, y'all. Again, it's cowardly, right? So, but that shows you right there just the Miss Oracle's reaction. That tells you everything you need to know. With me, whatever. If I found out that anti-Afro Spengali was some white chick, when again you could hear in her voice, you can tell who's black and who's white. You can tell. All right. You can tell. Some people have accused Jason Black of being white. It's obvious he's black. You can just hear it in their voice, right? And you can hear it in her voice that she's clearly a melanated woman. All right, you can tell, right? But these guys will go after people who they think they can be, but other guys, they don't want the smoke. They just want the drama. And going after people who aren't going to go back at them, and they're not, I don't think they're going to go after Taz that much either. Maybe they will. We'll see. We'll see. But they're crazy like a fox. I've said this over and over. All right. But a lot of these dudes who are, they're so caught up with the Umar, like this chick. And for her credit and to Tiffany's credit, both of them said, listen, I respect, Nappy Yankee and also James G for coming up and speaking their speak. All right. And listen, I might have said some shit to her that, I might have said, but Umar brings out the drama. This is what happens. I might have thrown a name out there, call out a name, or whatever. I'm not going to do that. And that other chick that came up, Kai, threatening to pull up on me in New York. Listen, women, do not threaten dudes. Stop doing that. All right. No, dude. I saw Michi X try to threaten Boyce. Listen, Boyce is a dude. As geeky as he looks, that dude is a man at the end of the day. All right. A lot of these women, they threaten to fight you and stuff, and you go up and meet with them, and they'll come with a couple of other dudes. It's what it is. All right. So listen, I'm not. A couple of people in that chat. Some of them from New York. Oh, you in Brooklyn? Pull up, then I'll show you who I am. Like, come on, bro. And this right here, to actually go to jail or to get in a scrap up over Umar Johnson, all right? Dusty, and that's another thing. When Dusty Don came up, Dusty Don actually went to Umar's signing. I mean, dude, seriously, man, really? You're gonna make Umar out of all people into a freaking martyr? So this whole thing has gotten wild. But back to the premise of this video. You see the date, you see the school, you see the timeline, you see the clock running as I'm speaking. FDMG 12/21, December 21st. All right, the Umar content is gonna continue. If nothing else, but just to annoy those motherfuckers over there, the Umar content is gonna continue. All right. And you see the clock ticking. And I kept saying, I said this 2 years ago. This was back in when? I guess last year in December, I said it was in November. I said, damn, it's been 2 years. And you had people like that water buffalo, Claudia, saying, oh, nah, it's not even 2 years. It's a month and 10 years. It's a year and 10 months. Well, listen, it's now 2 years. For this school. For the scam itself, it goes back to 2009. If you really go back, it may go back as far as 20 years. But February 2019 is February 2021. 2 years. And now I'm going to put you on the clock. And I'm going to even go as far as the clock being 12/31/21. So I know he's going to throw some things out there, and he's going to throw out maybe June of this year, or maybe August like he always does, or no, it's going to be November. And you know what? Thanksgiving, we're going to do this, brother. Forget the white man's Thanksgiving. We're going to have FDMG giving, right? And giving and Cash App, and that's the only FDMG giving that's going to happen. But it'll be interesting to see all the excuses that are going to happen. And Umar already covered himself regarding this. He said, listen, it doesn't matter if it happens 100 years. You've seen the video. All right. But it'll be interesting to see how these guys spin it as the year progresses. What Derrel's live is going to be like. What those other fools are going to say. What will be their excuse at this point? Okay. Umar's on the clock. FDMG is ticking, and that's it, man. That's all I got to say. And peace out. Again, like the video, share, subscribe, Cash App. You know what it is. Big up on yourself.